thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. And of course, we'll talk about the band and all of that. So I did this. You guys, the band's from LA. Are you originally from Los Angeles?
I'm originally from Lompoc.
Okay, where's that?
Lompoc is about 2.5, maybe 3, with traffic, hours away from. It's like north of LA.
Okay, that's what I'm in San Diego. I don't know. I don't think I've heard the name. Lompoc.
Yeah,
that's
you have to. The thing about Lompoc is, like you're going on the 101 for a bit, and then you'll kind of see a thing that says Lompoc, and you have to get on the 1. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, so the 1 like goes through our town, kind of. I think, I don't know, but you have to like get off the 101 to get to us. So we're like a little bit out of the way, but not really.
Sure. Maybe. Yeah, it's funny. Maybe if I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I've lived in California my entire life, and it's just so funny that So tell me about growing up there, like fairly close to LA. You said north? Are you?
Yeah, it's north. So we're like
east. Are you close to the water or?
Yeah, that's the thing. So we're a coastal town, but not really a coastal town, if that makes any sort of sense.
Okay.
We have like a beach, but it's like maybe 10 minutes away, like from the town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really a beach that you go to like, you can go to relax, but you don't go in the water because the current's so strong, and many people have died from either just the current or shark attacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
throughout the years. And it's owned by the Air Force Base. Kind of controls everything there.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go, you're like, you can't really walk on a whole lot.
Sure. Okay.
So like
yeah.
Gloomy feeling when you're down there, but
yeah, it's like here in San Diego, like we have a lot of. We have a ton of beaches, but there are majority areas of the beach that it's all military that you can't obviously access and stuff. Yeah, like Coronado has some parts up in Oceanside area. So yeah, there's some pockets where you have to have, you have to be in the military to be able to access that. So
yeah,
that's interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I saw that. I never heard of the town. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you grew up there. The rest of the band is not from there. Just you.
The rest of the band is not. No, they kind of came on. Actually, today, I need to text them about that. Today is our 1-year anniversary of the first show that we ever played together.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, let's hear about that show. Where was it?
It was in LA at a bar called The Federal.
Okay.
And so how it all happened was really, really quick. They all kind of just joined, and then they got us a show, and then we went and played. And I think like probably couple days prior to that, I like officially asked them if they wanted to be in the band.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, sure. So it was like our first, like, okay, we're a band now. And I was really nervous because I had just gotten so used to looking at the other members of the band. I was like, just to look at them, to like kind of like the old members. If I was feeling a little bit weird about something, I could just look at them and think like, all right, I'm good. Like, that's my boy right there. And I felt like the new kid in school because everyone knew each other. I was like, they all were a part of the scene.
Okay.
And I was just kind of sitting there by myself like, oh shit, I don't know anybody here other than just my band.
Right.
And, no one knew us, but they all knew who they were. And like so we played, and it was like, you could instantly, I felt like, you ever seen the movie The New Guy?
Yeah, actually I have.
Yeah, it felt like that. Like, I felt like I was like, I like won everybody over. Like, I just did like really crazy shit, and everyone was like, yeah, like, I like this guy.
Okay. But the rest of the band members that you have were already in the scene. They knew everybody. So you were just the one guy, the one new guy.
The one new guy that I think everyone was just kind of looking at like, oh, it's this new band. And it's funny too, because the set we played, everything's already been so established.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I knew the set, like it was the same set that I've been kind of playing for the last like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew and they were a little bit like, I don't think that song really fits there. And I was like, no, trust me, like it's gonna work. And then I think they were even a little bit surprised, like, oh shit, like
it worked.
It worked.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll get to the formation of the band, but I want to go back a little bit and just how did you get into music originally?
Growing up, my uncle always played, and I would always go to like, just if he played like farmers markets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool, and I was always around it, but it was never like I want to do that. My mom had a guitar around, and so I was always around it, but no one ever really forced me to play.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I saw School of Rock.
Oh, really? The movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was like, I watched it and I thought like, oh, well, I'm the same age as them, and they did it. I'm sure I can do it. And my neighbor, she had just like her grandpa was like getting her to play bass.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, I had all these like things around me to where I could just actually do it. So I just decided to do it. So yeah, I was like 12 years old, and
Guitar you started playing?
yeah, it was guitar.
Okay. And then your
And then
neighbors playing bass. Did you guys like jam together? Or were you kind of
we
learning together?
we tried to. We were both into the same kind of music, and we like always joked about starting a band. I think we had like a MySpace band, and we like took promos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love hearing about people's first bands like that, because it's always like the art and the name and like the image is like so important, and like we'll figure the songs out later.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you know, the music will come.
And I think they were kind of taking it as a joke, and I was being a little bit serious about it.
Okay.
We never had a song, we never had a practice. We just had a MySpace page, and that was it. And it felt pretty legit. So
Nice. Okay. So you get and that was with your bass or with your neighbor.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
the band? Okay. Okay.
yeah. And she quickly, I don't think she doesn't play anymore. She went on to be like she's kind of blowing up on YouTube right now. She just plays The Sims, and she actually just like got 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
As a gamer.
As a gamer, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, it wasn't until like maybe 8th grade. So I started playing in 7th, and then 8th grade I started singing only because no one else was singing.
Oh,
and
you were just trying to play with people.
Yeah, well, we were all like, oh, let's have a band, and none of us were like wanted to be the singer. And I was like, okay, well, I guess to make it work, I'm gonna have to just like I'll just try singing.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone was like, oh, you sound good doing it. And I thought, okay, cool. And then I just kind of ran with it.
Roll with it.
Yeah.
So 8th grade, you start singing, and then from there, just more like high school, you're just playing in more bands and more bands. Like what kind of?
I've actually only been in 2 bands.
Okay.
My entire life, yeah. So the first band was just with me and my friends, obviously, and we were just kind of dicking around, and then decided like we wrote a couple songs.
High school area. Okay.
It was like freshman year, and we decided like we wrote like 5 songs because we knew that was enough to play a show.
Mm-hmm.
So we wrote 5 songs, and then we just like bugged all like the older bands who at the time they were only like 17, but to us we were like they're so cool if they're gonna talk to us, you know, that big age gap. But yeah, we just started playing we booked a bunch of shows at like 14, 15, which in hindsight is really weird. I never really realized how weird that was that we did book and did so many things like that at 15.
Right. I know. Looking back.
Yeah. Because we were playing with bands that like would come through on tour, and they were like in their like early 20s or like mid 20s. And they would ask to borrow stuff, and we'd be like, yeah, sure. Like, it's in my mom's van. And my mom would just be sitting there like waiting for us to play. So I never realized how weird that was until like I got older, and I was like, oh, that was kind of a really, if some 15-year-old said that to me now at a show, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, right? Yeah, it'd be weird. That's funny. As with that band, did you like what did it kind of fizzle out? High school or?
No, it fizzled out. Probably we had a good like year and a half of just like recording and playing shows and like writing.
Okay.
And then everyone just kind of wanted to, you know, we were just so young, and everyone was just wanting to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the band just broke up, and then I started Only Ocean probably my junior year of high school.
Oh wow! So this has been the band pretty much.
It's kind of like my identity at this point.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so the original formation of the Only Ocean was just you, and then you added your friends, or how did it all start?
I guess in a way it was me, because I knew like I wanted to have a band, but everyone was already in bands, and I was like, okay, I guess I just got to write a bunch of songs to coax people to come play with me. And once I did that, I got 2 of my childhood friends to play drums and bass, and then another guy that was like a part of the scene who ended up becoming like a really good friend of all of ours. And we like kind of finalized the lineup a year after high school, maybe a couple months after high school.
Mhm.
And then from like 19 to, Jesus, it would have been like maybe 27, I think, 28. That was just like, it was just us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So up until what, pretty recently, the lineup changed or no?
Yeah. So the start of 2019, the drummer and bass player were just kind of like, I want to do something else with my life. This has been fun, but didn't feel like it was really going anywhere given where we were, it being in Lompoc. And I had known they quit, and I was like, okay, well, quitting for me isn't really an option. Like, I got to figure out what to do. And it just so happened that the guitar player, her band had broken up. And I knew her from just playing shows. And I've known her for about maybe like 5 years at this point, 6 years.
Okay.
And we never really ever talked about trying to be in a band with each other. It just kind of like, I think she was like, he's in Lompoc, I'm in LA. Like, that's just not going to work.
But you guys would come down to LA and play shows. Is that kind of how you made
we
that
would
network?
We would always go down to LA or play shows. Her band actually had played in Lompoc a couple times. That's how I met her, was in Lompoc.
Okay.
So she asked to join. She knew I didn't have anybody, and I was like, yeah, of course. And then she brought the drummer along because the drummer and her were in that band together. And then the drummer, we needed a bass player, and he was like, well, I have this guy that like I used to be in a band with. I don't think he's doing anything. I'll ask him. And then he joined. I think he joined he started playing with us in, I think, August of 2019.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
by the end, at the start of 2019, I was bandless. I just had like the name and like a record that I was trying to do. And then at the end of 2019, we ended up being voted #1 on K-Rock Locals Only.
Locals Only. I saw that with Kat Corbett. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was such a weird year that I didn't even realize that it just didn't feel like a year. I don't know. It was so bizarre. I didn't really give myself too much time to dwell, because I was like, if I dwell, I know I'm gonna get sad and I won't do anything. I'll be all bummed out. So once they joined, I was just kind of like, all right, well, I guess LA is just where I'm gonna be.
And then did you move to LA, or are you still in?
I'm still in Lompoc, so I just kind of bounce around from place to place. My girlfriend lives in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
So I just spend my time in Orange County a lot. So I'm probably in Orange County maybe like 3 weeks out of the month, and then like a week in Lompoc, and that's literally just to come back and like get money and like
clothes.
Yeah, just stuff like that. And pre-pandemic, I was like here for maybe 3 days, there for 4, and just kind of spending my time in Orange County in LA.
And with COVID, like you said, 2019 was like the year that you guys were going.
Yeah.
And then it shuts down. Like, what were you up to when that all kind of unfolded? Were you guys touring or anything when that?
No, we were just what sucks about it is like, because I don't know, I'm not like I don't like saying like, oh, like this year is gonna be my year. I always try to just make it like I'm gonna make the best of every year.
Right.
But 2020 really felt like everything was in motion, and we kind of had all this eyes on us and like
some momentum and stuff.
Yeah, more than I had ever like had before in my life, and I was really excited. We had a bunch of cool shows booked up. Our single "Watch It Fall" was supposed to be released in March, or like around that kind of like a spring release. And when third or second week of March, when all that happened, we just kind of like, no one knew what to do. So we were just kind of chilling and just really just waiting for like, okay, what's going to be the appropriate moment for us to kind of like start making moves again.
And the "Watch It Fall" is the one is that the song that Kat Corbett has been playing, or is it a different one?
Yeah, she played an old one actually. That was called "Still You Won't." That was like with the original band.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was recorded in like 2016, and the guitar player just sent it in asking her to play it, and she did. And then "Watch It Fall" was on the last one as well. And then, yeah.
That's amazing. So, yeah, because you had a record out, yourself had a record in 2015. That's what Spotify is telling me that. So, yeah, so that was with the old band, and even like all these other like songs that you guys had put out, "Good Morning," "Replaceable." Those were all that was all done with the prior band. And was that all released independently and like recorded independently? Did you have like a label or?
So it's really weird because like everything that seems so normal to do in like a bigger city, we don't, like in Lompoc, it's so small. So we were always just brought up like I didn't even know how to really get press until the first record came out, or the EP came out.
Okay.
Like that wasn't even like a thing that we even thought of. We were like, oh, let's just put it out. We'll put it on everything, and then we'll just go and play shows. Because like bands prior, like that were older than us, that's what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
So we just thought, okay, that's just kind of the way to do it. And like again, we kind of came from like, right, kind of come from the era of like when MySpace was a thing,
mm-hmm.
and that was like a big, you'd have all those bands like just constantly touring and going through, and you kind of knew all of it because I think MySpace had like the tour dates, like you could have shows booked up on it, you know?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, they did a really good job actually, MySpace, for their music with bands and stuff. I think they did that. They really had it.
We were kind of just brought up like that way because we thought, oh, that's, I guess, just like what you do. So no, we didn't really put it on, no records or no labels, no anything like that. We met Jonathan DeBaun just from like a mutual friend, and he had said like, oh yeah, he's done like a couple Mars Volta records, he's done this,
mm-hmm.
he's done that. And at the time we were like, okay, like that's what we need to do to really take our sound to the next level, is like get with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that he was willing to work with us, and then he's continued to work with us throughout the years. So we kind of always had like, once we had that, we were like sick. And then the first record, we just kind of thought of like, let's just get people to know who the hell we are. Because
mm-hmm.
at the time we'd only really put out like just singles but weren't on Spotify yet.
Right.
And then it wasn't until the second, like the EP, when we started to get some like, once I learned how to get press and stuff like that.
Okay.
And once when that happened, it was like, okay, this is like, can actually maybe be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. And what have you recorded with the new band? Like Fake Sunflowers, was any of that with your new band, or is that all old still?
That's still all old, yeah.
Oh wow. So the newest, like Watch It Fall and Wasted Days, are with the current lineup?
No, it's the old one too.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you guys been able to hit the studio as a band yet, or no?
Not yet. No, we've been at the beginning of quarantine, we were like, I think it was Jonathan, the drummer's idea to like, let's just all send demos in like a Google Drive, and then from doing that, I think at this point maybe have like 25 songs just like ready to go. So
wow.
we're just kind of like, when we safely can, like we'll all go get tested, and then we'll go practice, and we're just kind of plugging away. And I think we're just trying to get as many as we can before we think like, okay, let's just go record.
Okay. So so the songs that are the one, like, because Wasted Days just came out
mm-hmm.
like last week, or I think it was last week. Yeah. So like that, when was that song written and recorded? Years ago?
That song was written maybe the end of 2018 or like mid 2018.
Okay. And was that just that another single you're going to put out, or that's because that's not going to be a part of a body of work, is it? Because of the new band, and how is that all going to kind of come together?
Yeah, I think we're still kind of trying to work through all that. We don't really know, because what had happened is the drummer and bass player, God bless them, they quit as soon as they finished their parts.
Oh, okay. So they finished the record and then stopped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the day that the drummer quit, it was on a Sunday, and Saturday he did his last drum take.
Oh
and
my
then the
God.
next day he was like, hey, I'm done. And then the bass player was just kind of like, he did the same thing. He finished, and then he was just kind of like, yeah, I think it's time for me too.
Okay. So are you sitting on a bunch of songs then? Yeah,
there's like 8 more songs that we're just kind of waiting.
Figuring it out. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think, given like with everything going on, we kind of like the spot that we're in, because obviously we can't play shows and we can't do anything like that, but we can still release music.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really have to, we're in a pretty fun position where we don't really have to force ourselves to get into the studio, because we do have all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of told them, like, I love all the songs, obviously, because I was so a part of them on that last record.
Yeah.
So like Wasted Days and Watch It Fall, I was like, it's really, you guys can kind of pick which ones you feel comfortable that you want to release.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just to kind of like, I don't want to be like, these are mine. Like,
right. Kind of give them a voice to,
yeah, I was like,
even
whatever
though they
you
weren't
guys,
on the record.
yeah, I was like, whatever you guys feel comfortable releasing or want to play live, like I'm fine with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think now though, we don't really have to play any of those. So we're just, every practice is just kind of spent like just hashing out the songs that we have.
Okay. So you have a bunch of, so prior to quarantine, you guys were playing mostly the old songs that you had written prior.
Yeah.
And then now is when you, right when like COVID hit or whatever, and everyone's inside, that's when you guys started writing what will be all the new material. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that pretty exciting, or is it hard to write over the computer?
No, I mean, it's been pretty fun actually. Like, because on the last, so before them, I was kind of really doing a big majority of the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of like parts and
writing
and all of that. Yeah. So, and with them, it's like their musicianship, like all of them are such great musicians that like some days I have to be like, okay, I really got to bring my A game, because like they're bringing some like really cool shit that like, and I'm over here just like not bringing anything to the table. So
right.
Sometimes it's gone like one or two ways. Someone will like a guitar idea, and I'll finish it, and then we'll just kind of have someone make a demo, or like the bass player Jordan, he's like real secretive with it, and then out of nowhere he'll like upload his Google Drive with like 3 demos like all the way written.
That's awesome.
So it's been real fun, like just seeing where everyone's coming from, and we all pull from such different areas, but it's the same area at the same time, if that makes any sort of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So everyone's play style is completely different, but it's really fun to kind of like try to make it all work.
Right. And wow, that's cool. So it's all basically done through Google Drive then, like you upload something. Because I would imagine trying to do something like this, like we're trying, like Zooming, it would probably be like latency issues and a bunch of other noise I could assume would be a problem. That's cool that you're doing it that way, though. Is that something like you would continue to do, or would you prefer to write with everybody in the same room?
Honestly, both. Because I think even before all of this, like that's kind of how the old band operated too. Like we would just, if I went to go make a demo with John, I would just send it to him and just say, hey, listen to it, and this is kind of like a rough outline of like what the song and what the parts are going to be. Mm-hmm. And we would just go from there. This way it's pretty quick too, because like there's nothing worse than being like rehearsing something and not having an idea right away, or like not knowing how to articulate what you're trying to play. Mm-hmm. Then you just sit there and like everyone's watching you, waiting for you to like get your shit together.
Sure.
And if you can't get it, you just kind of feel like, God, I'm wasting everyone's time. But this is cool because, you know, I can just kind of play them and just kind of sit with them for a long time and kind of bring my ideas to the table. Yeah, I actually kind of prefer having it both ways.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine you might be able to get some interesting takes and maybe sounds and tones of just like things that are, like you're recording in your house, and if you're just running it the whole time, you're not worrying about, the clock ticking and costing you a ton of money.
Yeah, totally.
You could probably come up with some pretty creative things, I would assume, in that sense. And like if you send a take to, or if you send a demo out to everybody, will like your guitar player send back like 5 versions of different, maybe you have a chance to pick through and come up with different ideas.
Usually how that happens, what we've been doing is just like, I think everyone just kind of writes it and then just kind of saves it for like, because we try to practice pretty consistently. So I think we're going every Sunday at this point.
Oh, wow. That's not, so you are able to get together and everything. That's good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, usually what happens is just I think the only one where it's a little bit weird is, there's like 2 demos. So if someone has a demo, there's one with drums and one without. That way the drummer can play over top of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
And Jonathan is he's such an animal that like he writes all of his drum parts out so he can remember them sometimes.
Oh, that's cool.
I
usually, I feel like the drummer just goes in there and just bangs on stuff, and you're like, bad. But are they doing the same thing every time?
Yeah. him and Jordan went to school for music.
That's dope.
So like their like IQ of it, like I understand what they're saying, but sometimes like they'll lose me with some of the stuff they say. And I just kind of have to, like, me and Tamara are in the vein of like, we know what they're saying, but we're also just kind of like, we learned all this just being in the garage.
Right. Sponging it up from them.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, since you guys can get together, have you done any live streams or anything like that?
I've done a couple like Instagram lives where I'm just playing by myself.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing this mainly more in like the beginning of quarantine because like everyone was doing it, and we just kind of decided to do it as well. And it felt pretty fun because everyone was at home, so like when people would tune in.
Right.
Once summertime hit, I think people's just energy shifted because they were just like able to go outside and they didn't have to kind of quite focus on just only being inside.
Right. And I think it obviously it went longer than a lot of people assumed too.
Yeah.
Like it was like, this will blow over in a month. Like, you know, this 6 weeks and it's 9 months later or whatever. It's like, yeah, I was in the beginning, like Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie always uses this example. He was like, I'm going to do a live stream every day. And I'm like, well, how long did that? I mean, I don't know. I didn't follow it, but it's like, I could assume he probably stopped about 4 or 5 weeks in and was like, I could be doing this for the rest of my life every day if I keep at this rate. So
it got kind of stressful too, because I was like, okay, well, we only have like so many songs that are in our set that we still play. And I was like, I don't want to play something that no one's ever heard before because I don't even know if I know how to play it anymore. And it really was kind of like every week I was like, shit, I got to get some sort of cool set together. I got to make it interesting. I can't just like sit there and play. And I would always have to just like, I did a really bad job of learning covers like the day of.
I was going to ask, so did you have to try to fill it in with a bunch of covers? Or were you trying to?
I would do covers and I would always think like, oh, I'll do that one. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. And of course, like, you know, those beginning months you just get so lazy.
Right.
That like the day it would happen, I was like, I don't know it. And then I would like do a really bad job. I would still go for it, but it wasn't ever. I'm glad like no one was recording.
Right. That's awesome. Very cool, man. Well, thank you so much, Wesley, for talking with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I do have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Honestly, just do it. I know it's a really bad one, but I've watched a lot of bands and a lot of like my friends' bands kind of break up because one bad thing happens and they think like, okay, this is terrible and I don't want to do it anymore. And sometimes it's like you just got to get through all that shit and get to the other side. Because once you do, it's like once you fight through it, everything works out. And just go for it and know that it's kind of like life. It's like a relationship almost. It's gonna be bad and it's gonna be hard, but if you really love it and you love playing music and you love everything that comes with it, then don't just give up when you got a couple bad apples thrown your way. Bringing it backward.